It's supposed to be a lavish party. Boris Johnson wants to celebrate his wedding at the Prime Minister's country estate in July. So it would be inconvenient for him to resign now. After his resignation as the head of the Conservative Tories, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson may have to look for a new plan for his wedding celebration, or not. Johnson and his wife Carrie had married in a small circle in May 2021 because of the corona restrictions. They could only have 30 guests at one invite at a garden party to Downing Street. A grand celebration is now planned for July 30th at Chequers, the British Prime Minister's official country home. On Thursday, Johnson announced that he would remain Prime Minister until a new party leader is elected, possibly until the party conference in October. The Daily Mirror, The Guardian, and other British media are now reporting that the schedule is mainly related to Johnson's wedding plans. The invitations to Chequers have already been sent. Well, a slip of the tongue also suggests that Johnson had the 16th century mention in mind in his resignation speech. When he announced his resignation outside his official residence in London's Downing Street, he thanked his wonderful staff here at Chequers. London Mayor Sadiq Khan of the opposition Labour Party ironically commented on the allegations. Even though we would all like to have a lavish wedding feast at taxpayers' expense in Chequers, he won't be able to do it because the British public will find it abhorrent. That's what Khan said on LBC Radio. But the whole thing is just another example of the fact that only one thing is important to Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson. But Johnson leaves behind a kingdom in ruins, because while the golden wallpaper is falling off the walls in London, poverty is exploding in the country. In a recent survey of working parents by Action for Children, 30% said they skipped some meals. Others often replace hot food with breakfast cereals. And 2.4 million people sometimes eat nothing for a whole day. Economists warn that this social crisis will also develop into a health crisis. It's not Johnson's fault alone. Poverty was already at a high level before he took office, but the trend is increasing. On the one hand, this is a consequence of the pandemic, Brexit, and the current price increases. But Johnson and his administration have also been unwilling to address the issue. The food packages for families during the corona lockdown are a symbol of his disinterest. Normally, particularly needy children receive a £30 meal voucher to redeem at their school. But since the schools were closed, the government decided to send packages to particularly poor families. While the content differed slightly, there's an example the BBC reported at the time. A loaf of cheese slices, a can of beans, pasta, 3 apples, 2 bananas, 2 carrots, 2 potatoes, and 5 candy bars. That should be enough for a disabled mother to feed her child healthily for a week, and the value was less than £10. Johnson had found a different answer to the current crisis: economic growth. Hundreds of thousands of new, high-paying, high-skilled jobs are to be created in Britain. The Prime Minister himself does not know where they are supposed to come from in the current crisis. The unemployment rate is at its lowest levels in decades, and there are many open job offers, which in turn means that wages are rising. However, they are not keeping up with the price increases. In addition, the economy is ailing and will probably continue to do so for a long time if one follows the Bank of England. Britain will be hit harder and longer than other industrialized nations by the downturn in the global economy, the UK Central Bank announced 2 days ago. A survey conducted a few months ago by the YouGov Institute shows just how much the government has decoupled itself from the population. More than 60% think that politicians act primarily for themselves, while a little less than 20% believe they act primarily for their party. And just 5% think UK politicians give the country the top priority. The British government has long since lost confidence, not only among the population, but also among the governments of the various parts of the country. Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon stressed her call for an independence referendum after Johnson announced his resignation. And in Northern Ireland too, the centrifugal forces are getting stronger. In May, the Irish Nationalist Party Sinn Féin became the strongest force there for the very first time, and their goal is a referendum on the reunification with the EU country Ireland, ideally within the next 5 years. There is no majority for that now, but in Belfast, however, the calculations are apparently based on the fact that the British government's inability and the consequences of Brexit will ensure this majority. Sturgeon took the opportunity for a general settlement 2 days ago. Scotland needs an alternative to the broken Westminster system, regardless of who succeeds Johnson, she insisted, adding, as if that weren't clear enough, Scotland would not want any of these people as Prime Minister. These people. These are not just unusually derogatory words for a head of government. It also shows how deeply trust has eroded in the once proud kingdom. And I'll see you in my next video. Bleibt stark.